you feel at ease and less stressed and more productive, things like that. But I find that when I'm talking to wellness experts and I'm in the same space, that artistic things seem so out of reach for so many. I often get in my own workshops that I do, oh, I can't paint, like, please excuse what I'm doing. Or I can't draw a straight line, or I really am nervous about all this. And I get all of those things. And it just got me thinking about a lot of people are just so afraid to try something creative because there's been this notion of you have to be good at something immediately. You have to have this end product that is perfect, so to speak. So we're going to break all that down, kind of the mindset of things and the emotional things that happen when we try new things in our life. And then I really want to spend a little bit of time, we won't have much, but doing a couple, I hope 1 to 2, maybe 3 actual practices. And so I don't want that to scare you. I'm going to walk you through things, and they're really focused on getting your mind, getting the mindset shifted, and not so much about we're creating any type of art. So that's what we're here today to do. And I just thank you so much. I don't generally check the chat very much while I'm presenting. So Amanda, anybody on the team, or anybody here, if there's something and you say, hold on, Susie, wait, just interrupt me, unmute, or just let me know, because I just go. And so that's that. So why I teach, I want to provide welcoming, relaxed environments for you. It kind of just reiterating what I said, I want to demystify what this thing of art is, and that we are all worthy of doing something creative. And it really can help us from the inside out in ways that a lot of people don't think about. And I just love people. I've been missing people. So thank you for being here. And I love coaching. I do a lot of one-on-one coaching with people, one in artistic business, but also I do coaching on just people that want to start these practices and don't really know how. So hopefully that I get you started on that today, but I do some coaching as well on that. And again, we're all worthy of doing something creative. Now, let's get into the really important things, the benefits of creative practice. So in general, there are benefits to wellness practices. So I've mentioned some already, and maybe you could share in the chat as well as I'm talking, what are some things that you do for wellness or self-care? It's so trendy. Like, I think it's so important, but how many of us here also just keep hearing, take care of yourself, self-care, wellness. And then for me, I know that number one, I struggle with it. Number two, I have a hard time thinking, what does that mean for me? Because we are given through our consumption, really, of media and all these things, what it should be. And it's so different for everyone else, which is, again, why I want to add some of these creative thoughts and creative ideas to your practices. So here we have Michael meditates 2 to 3 times per week. Anybody else have any type of practice, even if it's not consistent? Maybe you do something every so often. Is it yoga? Is it working out? Do you like to write? Journaling? Yes. Dancing, playing or creating music. And these are all creative things. Those are creative. Lots and lots of yoga. Yes. Dancing, hot yoga and music. Cooking. Yes. We've had a lot of bread happening in my household during COVID. I'm not sure about anybody else. We've had a lot of bread. Walking everywhere. Fantastic. And hold on to those. Too much time trying to decide what to do. There's so many options. I feel that. Zoe, I'm with you. Dance, silk painting, awesome. And lots of music. Yeah. So I have found that as well. There's just so many options. It's like, what do you do? So here I'm adding another one to your list, but hopefully there's some things that will help you. So some benefits of creative practice and wellness in general. I have 2 lists here, and I really want us to shift into creative things. So is it the writing? Is it dancing, the music, the painting, the drawing, the whatever, collaging, mood boards, things like that. These are all scientifically proven things. So this is taken from a bunch of different research to prove that your stress will be reduced. You have more mental clarity. There's self-esteem things that can happen. You have increased concentration. enhanced problem solving, and the ease of some chronic health issues, which I do have chronic health issues. And so doing my work really does help. Sense of accomplishment goes with that self-esteem, and noise reduction. And that's what I'm really going to focus on today. The noise reduction, what that particularly means in my own words, but I'm sure you can kind of interpret that. We are living with so much noise, and everybody's noise is different. So, identifying what your noise is really important in a wellness practice that will take you to places of, stress reduction and the clarity and all those things. And that's also, as an artist, it's in my artist statement that actually says that when people engage with my work, there are no actual true pictures, images in my work. It's all, line and color based, that you take yourself away from the noise. So whether that's my work or something like this, these types of practices we do today, or some of those that you do, I'm sure you can relate to that. It is imperative that we find a way to reduce and step away from our noise. And quite often the practices, it's like, some of us feel like we have those routines. I don't know how to add something, or I don't know where to start, and we're overwhelmed. It's just so important to get ourselves out of that noise and away from it. And it doesn't have to be this immense thing. I actually talk about this also in allyship. Sometimes it feels like it has to be this big, huge thing, and we have to do all the things all the time. And actually, if you just choose something, one thing, 5 minutes, maybe it's 10 minutes, maybe it's before a meeting, maybe it's, like for me, before my children are like done for the day, I just need a moment. What is it? And it can be small in what it actually is. Like today, what I'm going to show you are small things, and it can be small increments of time. So give yourself that, because often I feel like it has to be an hour-long class or whatever it may be. So here's my tagline. I do want to trademark this, but and start the hashtag. So here's the thing. As adults, we have taken our rights away from ourselves a lot of practicing without penalty. Really think about that. Practicing without penalty, meaning, when did we stop playing? If anybody can put it in the chat, it's like, oh yeah, when did we stop playing? Because then there's always a penalty. I can't draw. I don't have time. It's not going to be perfect. It doesn't look right. And I'm really talking about the artistic things. People just shut down thinking, well, why would I pick up something and draw? I've never drawn before in my life. I've never painted. I've never picked up a paintbrush. I can't do it. This is too hard. We do that to ourselves, but we're also manipulated to do that to ourselves. And so I want you to think about that notion of practicing without penalty. I've got some stuff in the chat here I want to stop. So from a moment before, I used to paint, but not in years. Having creative urges, projects you want to do, but finding the time is challenging. Yes, and I'm going to talk about finding some pockets of time as well as a tip later. Hopefully that will really help. And if not, please get in touch. We can chat. I would love to help you with that. And then here, since school exams, the pressure from them to create a constant need to achieve what is expected from that onwards, right? Yes, the pressure of deadlines, obligations, they get in the way of that. Yeah, pay and play. It is so hard to break ourselves of that. I wish to play, but don't know what activity can ignite play and laughter. And I also struggle with how to start. Yes. So in creative stuff, whether it's painting or drawing, I call it the white paper syndrome, like having the white paper and it's just like glaring at us. And so some of it's just like, just throw something on there and see what happens. And there's so many different practices. So I hope to get to as many as possible today. Thank you all for sharing those. Those are all really important. Acknowledge that. Yeah, so exactly. Monetizing creative spaces. Right? I'm on both sides of that, right? I've got a business to run. I have a business I run. I've got a lease on a studio, right? But I also really need time to just play. I'll use myself as an example right now. Just hopefully somebody can relate to this. Exactly what you just said. I am grateful that I have a business. I'm grateful that I have interesting commissions. I'm not taking on any at all for the next 3 months, at least. not one, because I have grown in the past couple years, again, grateful and grounded in that I have interest and there's things coming. I am making the same type of work, which is awesome because somebody, people enjoy it. I have not played. I have not pushed myself as far as I want to as the artist. So that risk, there's risk involved as well. Talk about that in my ally work. There's risk involved in shutting something down or taking that time away from something else. So for me, it's shutting down the financial implications of commissions and the interest and saying, I'm going to play and I'm going to work and let myself just go through the process of not having to have the monetized portion of it. And also all of the other stuff. I need to silence the noise a little bit more. And so for me, that's playing. I hope that helps kind of make it more tactile. So there's also risk involved with that practice without penalty, depending on what situation you're in. And hopefully now, you have me as that creative ally of saying that's okay to do that. So, and I'm good. I'm like so excited because I'm talking really fast and then we can do all kinds of things together, hands-on. So I want us to think first, like one of the first or couple practices I actually want us to get into. And please interrupt me if you have any questions, but I want us to remember the, practice without penalty. We're playing today. We're not here to create like specific artwork. I'm not going to have us do a ton of specific things, okay. We are going to go into one of the most basic components of art. Here's the art teacher in me. Can't help it. It's ingrained. There are 7 elements of art. Okay. The basic elements: line, shape, form, space, okay, and spatial relationships, value, which is the lightness and darkness of colors, color, and texture. All these components make up what happens in art. Then there's broader concepts of things I teach at higher levels. A lot starts with line. Not everything, because you could just see a color, right? The color is then probably in some kind of shape, but lines. It's my background as well. Lines make shapes. Shapes make forms, right? And then you evolve from there, but lines are so basic, but people forget them. You can have creative practice with never knowing how to draw, with never thinking about something that's up there, specific in your head, but you can use line because they're made to use marks. And making the marks that I don't know where to start, or I am so stressed, or I've got this big meeting, or I just need like a minute. What I see online is just at me. Think about using line, which is what I'm going to show you a couple things here. They can be expressive. They can show movement. You can show a real thing, and learn how to draw. I mean, so lines. Oh, it's color and it's texture and all these things. Let's strip all that away. And what about line? So I'm going to pause. And this is where, if you have some supplies out, it would be awesome to just paper, any type of paper, a couple pens or pencils, whatever you got would be great. And we're going to do two of the similar activity with using both hands at the same time. And so this is an example of a creative practice that is not huge. It is not about a finished product. It's about getting you from the mindset of the day, the noise, the stress, the everything, and going more into what is like a meditative state. Now, some of you will find it a little bit stressful. And if you feeling, I'll ask you how you feel through some of this, because it's just like, wait, what's happening? What's going on? Like, breathe. Think about those of my yogis here, okay, my yoga and meditative people meditating. Think about your breathing. It's so interesting that it's so connected. I do a lot of breathing when I'm working, just kind of breathe and kind of that up and back and down and kind of feel that crack happen in the back. Really good. It's like, what are we getting ready to do? We're going to draw with lines, but it's really good for you to do those things. So hopefully it usually works. I'm going to actually switch cameras over. I'm going to plug in a different camera here. Excuse me for plugging in. Sometimes it wants to work, sometimes it doesn't. So hopefully it will. I'm actually going to stop my share screen right now. Maybe I won't. Let's see here. All right. Because I want to show you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to pause. You can see I'm kind of paused right there, and then I'm going to go away. I'm going to change my background in just a moment. I'm still here. I promise I'm still here. And we're going to do none. All right. So hello, everyone. Here is my hand. So I'm going to use this document camera here to help us and see what we're doing. You get to see all my stuff around me, which is so fun. Okay. All right. So I'm actually going to put, I'm going to take this off here. So I'm going to put a piece of paper down, and it can be, you can have a piece of paper this is just like a piece of computer paper. It can be small. It can be a tiny little notebook. It could be the back of a receipt. It does not matter what size paper you have, which direction it goes. I generally am going up and down vertical, but again, it does not actually fully matter. I'm going to tape mine down just because it's going to slide everywhere as I'm talking and kind of demonstrating. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm just going to use two like office pens. I have two random pens that are around my house, and we're going to use both hands. And both hands, what we're first going to do, I'll do it in the air and then I'll show you, and then you'll do it for about 60 seconds. You're going to have both hands try to do the same thing at the same time, but we're just doing lines. And I call this exercise mimicking, where you, it's kind of like you're a 3D printer or something. You're going to go and see, can you go down at the same time and to the right? And are you going to come around in a circle? Or maybe you go all the way down your page. Maybe it's something that's, you know, very harsh. Maybe it's rounded. It does not really matter which order you go in, because I've been doing this so long. I have the tendency to do this activity in the same manner of going kind of top to bottom or side to side. So, and again, I'm starting in the middle. You could start on the side. So let me demonstrate what this means, mimicking. And again, it's trying to get your hands to work together. Most of us have a dominant hand and a non-dominant hand, and it's just interesting to see what happens. And in some places you may, I'm not going to start while I'm talking, but in some places you may feel like you just kind of pause and your hands are not moving, but your brain's telling them to move. That's very normal. Okay. That's a connection thing that is very, very normal. So here I'm going to go and just start. So mimicking, I'm going to go down, maybe to the side, maybe going to round it out, come down, back up. Very kind of geometric here. Maybe I feel like some harshness. And you see kind of, I'm touching my hands together. You can touch them together. It helps them move together, or you could have them apart. It's a little bit more challenging. I'm going just all the way down, and we're kind of scribbling, but you want to really focus on those hands moving together and fill that page. Just kind of keep going. I'll tell you when to stop. Keep going. Remember to breathe while you're doing this. Okay, and lift up. If you'd like to share, you're more than welcome to hold yours to the screen. You don't have to, I will. It's okay, you can see mine. It's okay, you can just put it like right up to your camera. Usually I can see them, you don't have to, but you can. Awesome, yes. So did anything interesting happen to some of you? That one generally, it's like you're getting into it. Did anybody have that kind of hiccup moment of what am I doing? My hands aren't working together. Okay, no and yes, see all over, that's great. So then this in itself, okay, let's talk about if you just did this this was maybe 60 seconds, but maybe you said, I'm gonna sit down and do the mimic thing with lines for 5 minutes and go over a few pages. You would actually slowly reduce the like angst of the day, because you won't really be thinking about anything else but these silly lines and just kind of keeping your hands in motion. What I also, and I'll say this multiple times. So for me, as the artist, I know this happens to me, but maybe you do this today and then you do it in a couple days. What type of edges and shapes and lines have come out? When you're kind of more loopy and rounded, you're generally just, you kind of like softer things, or maybe you're in a softer mood. When it's up and down and harsh and, you know, and very angular, there's usually a little bit more stress or harsh energy going on. I know that for myself, so I can't project that on you, but pay attention to it if you do something like this again. So how is that creative practice? Well, you're using artistic elements. You're using a line, and you're trying to make your hands and your brain work together. It's the same thing about your body and your brain working together. If you're doing a pose, or you're meditating, or you're thinking about what you're writing, it's how you get into that practice. So let's do another version of this. You can go onto the back of the paper, a different piece of paper, does not matter. This one, I'm just going to flip over. I like to save paper. Also, little parts of those, a few of you said maybe you painted. If you did this with some permanent pen of some sort on like watercolor paper or something, or even on a canvas, each of those little shapes you could paint in. You know, you could draw something in them, you could write in those, and that takes that further. So this next one is similar. We're still going to use both hands, but this time we're going to mirror. So your hands are doing the same things, but it's as if it's like the butterfly or the ink blot. So you'll see I'll kind of start, and then I'm going to go out and kind of come back in, and I'll go up and around and down. So you're having your hands move again in very similar ways, but it's somewhat mirrored. Again, you can start wherever you want. Here, I'm going to demonstrate. And this, even for me, when I'm talking, I'm not solely like, you know, I'm not alone. Sometimes my left hand, my non-dominant hand, will just like stop. And I have to take a moment to recognize it and just forgive myself, because we're playing, and I keep going. So this is kind of down. And this you can actually kind of make into some fun things. You know, and again, is it harsh? Is it soft? You can be more aggressive, softer. You probably can hear my pens. Pay attention to that noise, the actual literal noise. How are you feeling? What's going on? And keep on going. So go ahead and start if you haven't. So put down, and you're going kind of pushing out, coming back together, up, maybe down, out again, in again. And I'll go ahead and keep drawing on mine. So if you want to look up and just see what I'm doing, you can. So again, I kind of started, and just, if this is, you know, if your brain and your hands just say push out to the edges, go down, come to the middle, come up, out to the sides, down, loop together, up. So you can go slow as well. There's that. Watching you work. It's fun. Okay, so let's lift up from that one. How many of you felt like that one was a little bit easier or a little bit harder? Let me check the chat here. Harder, easier, same, easier. See, right? I love this, because we're so unique, right? The way that our brains and our hands, you know, work together. Sometimes they fight each other. And like, look over here. Well, look at this. So I have the same motion here. Do you see how much farther out this black line is? Right? And so this is kind of like, what is this? What does this represent? We don't have to, what I say like artsy, we don't have to go there, right? This is a practice. You are physically moving in a different way. You're trying to reduce the noise, And it is a practice, right? It's not necessarily a fine art situation. It's a practice, okay? So that's called mimicking and mirroring. And then this next one is not necessarily a practice, but something with line that could become a practice. And this is about the pressure of your drawing or writing tool. This is really fun to do with a pencil if you have a pencil, but totally fine to do it. I'll do it a couple times with different things. This one is really great to think about. I have all different pencils here, but you can have any kind of pencil, really. And I'm going to zoom in on this one. Okay. So first thing, when you go to, whether you're drawing something because you want to look at it and you want to draw a picture, you're doodling, or you're doing something in this creative wellness, like this kind of mindset thing, I do want you to pay attention to how you're holding a drawing tool. Quite often we're going to hold a drawing tool as if we were writing, because that's what we've been trained to do. But I would actually encourage you to kind of step yourself up a little bit. So instead of having something down like right here and holding really, really, really tight, you want to kind of scoot yourself up a little bit. And to see if you're holding your pencil or pen or whatever it is too tight or too loose, here's what I do. When most of us will grab, and we're holding on so tight. All of our stress is right here. How many of you have that dent in your finger? Look at that one, right? You have a dent in your finger from writing, right? That's what we're trained to do. So if we can kind of move up, squeeze, you can watch my hands because I'm going to exaggerate, squeeze really tight and then let go. So you're still holding on, but it's loose, that if I came by and just went like this, I could pick this out of your hand. And just actually the act of the squeeze and the release, I also know, based on what you've told me you're interested in, that helps release, right? So you actually can do that in your hand, which travels up half of your arm. So if you kind of squeeze and release, does anybody feel that difference? Yeah. So that's kind of something you can just also do now. So as I'm up here, my challenge, whether it's a pen or pencil, and I'll do this with pencil first and then pen after, okay? How light of a line can you draw? Doesn't have to be a perfect line, but how light of a line. So it's easy to put a pencil down and go like this, right? But what happens when we just try to skim, whether it's a pen or pencil, just skim the surface and see how long that line can be. So no matter what size paper you have, you know, what you're using, I'll switch in a second, but just go from now edge to edge with one continuous line. So I started showing you with, just go one continuous line and focus on how light can that be. You're probably not going to even see mine. Maybe a little bit. And just keep repeating it. They're not meant to be straight. They can run into each other. That light pressure from your hand up on whatever you're using. Okay, I'll switch so you can see it with a pen. Edge to edge. Lengthen. So imagine doing that for 10 minutes. You have relaxing music on, you have nothing on. You are by yourself. You have squeezed out some of that tension in your hands. You are elongating the motion of your arm, and it's repetitive. So there's something about repetitive motions that are very calming. So I may run upstairs and do this. Dinner time is crazy in my house. It is not fun, Most of the time we don't eat. Like, so if I'm going to remove myself, or I need that moment, or it's after the day, and you're just, even if you are doing something else, like listening, or maybe you are also kind of reading something, and off to the side, you just have a piece of paper and you're just kind of methodically doing this, you will actually go into a slight meditative state. It's slow, it's controlled, but it's light. It's as if you think about it, does anybody have a pet? Like if you're petting your dog or a cat, this motion, it brings you some kind of peace. It's the same thing. Now, something to kind of get through some of the other stressors, for example, what could you do when you play with how you press? So here my hand is again on here. I'm going to go right here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. What if I did this line? I'm coming into the screen, and then I press really hard, but I don't pick anything up. I'm just going to then lighten the pressure and press down again and lighten the pressure and press down again. So let me zoom in now so you can, whoops, sorry, I'm going to make you dizzy. I'm going to come into camera in just a second. So I'm doing what we just did, and now press, but I'm not picking up the pencil. I'm just playing with the pressure. And vary that line. And so you could do that with a pen as well. You might not see as much of a difference, but you'll feel it. You can hear it on my screen probably. What if you did that side to side? You could also, what if you did that and then you twisted what you have? Let yourself twist up and back. And kind of just go on this whatever. You're not making a piece of art. Well, it could turn into a piece of art, to be honest, but we're making, press out the stress, press out the noise, come back into your meditative state. Be harsh in your line if you need to and have a peak. Play with how you're holding the pencil or pen. I'm not making kindergarten mountains here. We're just, we're just doing lines. How does that feel? Some of you will feel more agitated by that, and the other practice is easier and more calming. And this practice also is a great one for before. I often have this one, but if you're like feeling quite stressed or agitated, get some of that out on here, do this one, and then actually go into the first practice that's a little bit more slow and meditative. And that's fantastic if you're going into a stressful situation. You just got off of a call that's really, it just got you, like you can feel it in your whole body. Go into, like, get out that stuff, and then go into the first one, maybe where it's a little bit calmer and wider with the stroke. And even again, 5, 10, 15 minutes, what does that mean? Okay. Now, who's ready for a good challenge? This one, everybody up for a good challenge? We'll do this really, really quickly without any much artistic coaching at all. And I actually will come back to me. I'm going to change cameras back here and coach you through this one. Okay. Put my fun background back. There's my bedroom. There you go. All right. So this last one, and this one is going to get people, I'm going to say what we're going to do, and then you're going to, just remember, we're practicing without penalty. I'm going to have you look at something, not think about something, and try to draw it. Anything in front of you. I'm going to coach you through what that would be. I'm going to tell you what type of line to use. Now, if you want how to draw lessons, call me. Okay. But so we're not here today. We're just going to do this really fast. So for example, I'm going to look at my phone in front of me. Say my phone's right in front of me. Okay. I'm going to think about the phone. I'm not going to think about what what in my filing cabinet of things up here, the phone looks like. I'm really going to look at this and recognize there are some lines, and the lines make the shape into whatever. Here's what I want you to do though. Just stay with me. Hopefully you're still here. Okay. If I am sitting here drawing, so this is my paper and I'm drawing and I have my phone, I actually want my phone to be over here. And I'm not going to look at my paper while I'm drawing. The only thing I'm looking at will be the phone. I'm not looking down at my paper. So what your drawing stance should be is, and I usually physically have people turn around. So if this is my drawing paper in front of me, I'm going to move and you'll see my head turn. Maybe I'll disappear because of the background. I don't know. I'm going to turn at least this side where my paper's just right here. I'm going to look at my phone. I'm going to try to tell my brain to my hand what that phone looks like. I'm going to draw it with just like a smooth line, kind of like we were doing. And when you feel like you've finished drawing your phone or your coffee mug or whatever's in front of you, you just stop. This is actually called it's a type of drawing practice in learning how to draw, but this is really good in a creative practice to get, because the only thing you can think about is that thing you're trying to draw. And they're supposed to look crazy. Okay. So go ahead and find something to draw. Maybe if you can shift your body, don't cheat, but realize we're playing. And I'm curious what they will look like. So go ahead and pick that thing, move yourself, have your drawing tool and paper here, look in front of you, and then we'll start going into some extra tips after this. Okay, go ahead and look at what it is you're drawing. And while you're drawing, think about what shapes you see. What lines do you see? Are they straight? Are they vertical, horizontal? Are they curved? Do you see a rectangle somewhere? A triangle somewhere? What do you see? Try to tell your brain what you're seeing, and that will communicate to your hand, to your paper. And again, try not to cheat. You can look at your drawing paper when you are done. And it's okay. They're going to look kind of interesting. I saw, well, Amanda looked because she started laughing. Yep, hold them up. Did you draw your couch or your, see? I knew. We did not plan that. Okay, well, let me go through my thing. So hold them up. I'm going to tell you, this is a real thing, actually. I've done this. Awesome. Oh, I see. So fun. Amy, good. Awesome. Thank you. I'm trying to look back and forth with my screen. See, this is the teacher view. This is what my students see all the time. My face really close to the camera looking at their stuff. Okay. I've got some chat stuff. That was my phone. Yes, I saw. Oh, Gian, let me see again. I love it. Interesting. Awesome. This is fun. Okay. Good. Oh, yay. Thank you. Sue, yes. Okay. So that's actually, if you want to learn, like I have a whole lesson on this. Okay. That is actually called traditionally a blind contour drawing. Has anybody, any artistic people here may have done that before. Okay. So you have the ability to really see your paper taken away from you. And it is to force you to investigate. Fine art wise, it's forcing you to investigate whatever's in front of you. And I can break that down in artistic terms. But for creative practice, if you released your pressure, the penalty of having a drawing look like the phone or the couch or whatever you're drawing, if you can release that, go into play mode. What if you sat for 20 minutes and just did these contour drawings? You didn't worry about what was on the paper and you just kind of sketched around. Those of you that like image-based things, you feel more connected to this. The other stuff's a bit ambiguous. This is something specific. You're trying to draw something, but every time somebody tries to draw something and they think it has to look like this, you feel defeated. But if you just investigated that coffee mug, you tried to draw it, you're not looking, you're not worrying, and you did that for 20, 30 minutes, you were actually in a creative wellness practice. Oh my goodness, the painting. I do tons with creative, intuitive painting. That could be a whole other workshop, right? There's so much to do. So let's go back, and thank you for coming along. I know that put a lot of you outside of your comfort zone, so thank you. So here's some stuff, and I wanted to talk, especially we're getting close to time, about how do you find that time? What are some tips just to take away? I gave you some they are the most basic few little practices I could do, right? We don't need to buy supplies. We don't need something major, but you now have these to help you. Now, number one, no matter what you do, whether it's creative practice or not, please be kind to yourself in the process of course, doing the practice and establishing that regularity to it. We are in a time where it seems like our schedules and things change every single day, and we are not in control of that a lot. So be kind to yourself. Set attainable goals. Set aside dedicated time. I'm going to talk about time really specifically in a second. And the practices don't have to be complicated. So, if you're interested, you're like, hey, drawing stuff isn't my thing, but what would you suggest for painting? Get in touch with me. There's things that we do or I do that I can help you with. And reflect on how you feel after your practice. So I just shoved you all this is a quick time to just put you into this practice, but thinking about the kindness to yourself, the practicing without penalty, the true benefits of something creative, whatever creative means to you, and that noise reduction. Absolutely necessary right now. And then time, specifically on time. I do this in my business and I do this in general. Maybe some of you have done this practice before. You can share with me. I track my time every so often for about 24 hours. So every 15 minutes, I put down what I'm doing and then I categorize it and I see where pockets are that could be more efficient. So if you recognize you're actually on your phone, or maybe you're looking at social media, or you're just kind of doing not much of anything, you're like, oh, I didn't realize I was doing that for 2 hours, throughout the week. Say, oh, I'm going to take some of that time and I'm going to schedule that with myself to do creative practice or yoga or whatever your wellness practice is. So finding that time, I would first try to track what is happening in your day and see where you could actually extract pockets of time. That is something I'll really work on my coaching clients with, to figure out when to work, especially when balancing a lot, because I've had a full-time job with all these other things. I get it. We are busy people. And also being home where we can't actually move about much, it's just time is just strange. So I'm happy to help you with that. But track your time, see where there's some pockets. And I have given you the permission today to understand that these practices don't have to have all of the art supplies and all of the things and all of the skills. You just need a couple small things with a little bit of time. And I hope that helps. So it's a unique topic. It's a quick topic for today, just really scratching the surface of what I do with creative wellness. But I do hope that was a fun little lunch and learn of recognizing we're going to practice without penalty, be kind to yourself, play, play, play. Let's reduce the noise, which will reduce the stress, which will make us just so much more healthy and efficient in our own lives. Please feel free to stay in touch with me. It's not necessary, but please follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Susie Silver Art. You'll see my work, what I'm up to. My email's right there, my website. And of course, you can also get in touch with me through With Pride Consulting. I don't have that up here as well because this is a creative thing, but With Pride Consulting and LinkedIn. Love LinkedIn. Please just search Susie Silver, send me a connect and we'll connect there. I love people. I love staying in touch, and any way that I can support you, whether it's creatively with artistic things, your allyship work, D&I work, anything like that, please let me know and I would be honored to stay in touch. So thank you so much. I'm here to take questions as well. I'm going to stop this share screen right here. Oh, good. I can see everyone. So yeah, that's what I've got for today. And I really appreciate it. And I wish everyone a happy new year, but I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. All right. Oh yeah, feel free to come off mute. Yeah. Yeah, I guess we're good. Yeah. Well,
All
thanks
right.
for being here. I hope it was helpful, something different for your day.
Yes, thank you so much, Susie, for that. Really appreciate y'all coming out and trying this creative practice with us. I'll be sending out a recording. You probably noticed in the top left corner, I've been recording. So I'll send out the recording afterwards, as well as a quick survey. Would love to know what y'all thought. And Happy New Year again. Thank y'all so much for joining us. And
You're
we'll see you
welcome.
again soon. And thank you, Susie.
You're welcome. You're welcome, everyone. Nice to virtually meet you. Hope to stay in touch. Bye-bye.